fight we've all been waiting for. UFC 260, Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou. The real-life David and Goliath. If David was a Croatian firefighter from Cleveland, Ohio, and Goliath was basically Conan the Barbarian.
If David was a serial killer amongst serial killers that no one gives credit to, and Goliath looked like he was made in an African lab.
Yup. My name is Sho.
My name is JCali.
We're Nightside MMA, and this is the recap. Okay, so we got to start off with the fight that we were all waiting for, the main card. Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou for the heavyweight title at UFC 260. Oh, man. These big boys went to war.
It made the cage look tiny.
So
It
tiny.
looked like a playpen.
The apex is
it's
already smaller.
small.
Yeah. So just seeing those giants in there was a freaking testament
Freaking
to
crazy.
just bombs away, first of all.
And
Especially,
like what a story amongst these two combatants, right?
Yeah.
Like you can make a movie out of these guys' lives. It could be like Warrior 2. Get on it.
Seriously.
Get on it.
Just Francis himself could be in a movie starring the M'Baku from the Black Panther.
If M'Baku put on 200 more pounds.
He just needs to put on the Marvel testosterone.
Yeah, he just needs to get on the actor steroid plan.
After steroid plan. Dude, just hit up The Rock and get a little
But
juice.
seriously, like, Francis is built as if he's never laid down flat in his entire life. Like, on his back, he's not really on his back. On his chest, he's not really on his chest. He's kind of always perpetually floating because of how buff he is.
He's just always on
He looks like he's wearing a backpack all the time. Constantly wearing a JanSport.
Or, no, he's basically in, like, shoulder pads that football players wear.
Yeah, he's like, when you're in middle school and then your mom's like, put your books in your locker, but you're like, no. And so you carried all your books in your backpack. Francis has that on every day.
Yeah. Francis is stacked.
Stacked.
But, yeah, so I think, and it's crazy because, like I said before, David and Goliath, Stipe Miocic, put some respect on the man's name.
Like, the guy literally went through murderer's row in order to get to the title. Knocked out JDS. Knocked out Verdum. Who else did he knock out?
Andre
Everybody.
Arlovsky.
Knocked out
Alistair
Overeem. Just knocked out everybody on his way to the title.
And the DC trilogy.
And knocked him out in the second fight.
And he
Bang.
beat Francis the first time.
And beat Francis, only guy to like dominate Francis like that. You know? So, it's crazy how he's always an underdog. Like, put some respect on the man's name. And he's a firefighter. He fights fires.
He's the coolest guy.
He's
the coolest guy.
Coolest dude.
But I think, going in, we all knew that he had a huge test ahead of him. Francis, the Predator Ngannou. That man is an absolute killer. And let's be real. Like, look at his track record after the Derek Lewis fight.
Yeah.
Nothing lasts past the first round, let alone, like, the first, like, minute.
I remember when, like, we didn't have access at the time to ESPN Plus. And then you know how ESPN Plus has, like, that free 2 minutes if you just sign up. So we're like, dude, I think the fight will be finished by the first 2 minutes. This was for the Dos Santos fight. Yeah, we were at dinner. We were eating sushi. It was a Dos Santos fight, and he freaking finished him in like 45 seconds.
And
crazy.
And the thing about Francis is he didn't have to like hit you clean. Yeah. He just has to graze you.
He just has to skim your chin.
That's what he did to JDS. He skimmed the back of his head, like kind of like close to the side, and he was out.
Some of Francis's knockouts, it's like you have to really like try to discern where the knockout happened because they look like soft punches at first,
like,
but
did he touch him? Did he really touch him?
But he just has freaking mortars from hands. And I know we're not supposed to be basing the victor of a fight on what he looks like physically, but come on.
He's undeniable.
Come on.
The man is undeniable.
Come on.
The man is a beast.
He looks like he's made of mountain.
He's like what the Greeks used to write stories about.
You remember in Hercules Disney movie when he talked to Zeus for the first time? And then Zeus was just a statue inside the temple?
Massive statue.
That's what Francis is.
Oh, man. But
anyways.
But again, and it was crazy because I think, at the start of this fight, a huge question was the weight. Stipe came in 30 pounds under. He came at like 234.
He came in way significantly lighter than he did on the first fight, right? Mm-hmm. And then Francis, conversely, he came in heavy as shit. Like, he put on 30 more pounds, right?
No, he was the exact same weight, though.
I think 30 more pounds from his past fight, though, right?
No. He's the exact same weight as the past fight.
But just ripped as shit.
But ripped.
Yeah, so I think when you take into account the difference of weights, you could kind of formulate a game plan from there, right? So I think from the dropping of weight from Stipe, you could guess that his plan was to circle and really stay on his feet, employ his footwork, his excellent boxing. In that first fight against Francis, he did so well at slipping punches and then firing back a counter and just staying on his toes, staying on the balls of his feet, constantly moving on the octagon, cutting angles, and then securing takedowns.
Yep.
So we could assume from the weight loss he was going to do the same thing, right? Now, Francis put on a lot of weight, or he was just heavy in general, 260, right? So it's obvious that you're not going to build Division 1 wrestling credentials overnight. So what's the next best thing you could do? Put on a lot of weight and make the guy who's trying to take you down have a way harder time. Put some strength on, put some weight on. And I think that's what we saw.
And exactly. But then what's crazy is if you look at the body difference between Francis when he fought Stipe the first time and this time, it's like they're the same weight, but you can tell that he does not have any body fat, like as much body fat as he did last time. This time he is coming in. It's crazy. Who can say that there are a lean 260? Lean 260. The man is yoked and his abs are just showing, and it's like, god dang, man. Like,
yeah, I was 246 and I look like a barrel. I look like bubble wrap. It's the best thing that you could say I look like. I thought I looked strong, but no.
You look like a human-sized meatball. But besides the point, exactly though. Like, I mean, we've seen it before. All of these heavyweights are, it's like these days, when you're a heavyweight, the best heavyweights now are conditioned.
Are athletic.
They're athletic.
Yes.
They're not that weight because of fat,
Yeah, exactly.
That's all muscle. Toned muscle. And exactly as it seemed, Francis was that. So going into the first round, like, the huge question was, can Stipe survive the first round, right?
Can Stipe survive the big shot? And we saw the big shot pretty early.
Yep.
Francis stepped in with a power right hand that came like a freaking missile.
Overhand right.
Like a ICBM missile.
And he ate it.
And he ate it like a marshmallow. Stipe ate it like a marshmallow, like a little Tic Tac, ate it. And, but I think what's also notable is that after he landed that punch, what did Francis do? He was calm. He didn't storm in like he would normally do. So I think that was a big testament to a growth on Francis' end, more experience in the octagon. He stayed composed.
Going into that exchange, Stipe did the thing that, we all thought he was going to do. He was going to utilize his wrestling.
Executed the game plan.
But what did we see, Jeremy?
He ran into a big African mountain.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like the takedown defense of Francis definitely showed right off the bat.
And it was less technique. I think we needed to point out it was less technique and more. Francis is way heavier. Like, he just put all his weight on the top of Stipe's neck, forced him to flatten out. And then from there, Francis actually circled around his back and took his back for a little bit.
No, it looked good.
Yeah. It was raining punches from the back. It really looked like he might actually finish Stipe right there, but then Stipe's chin, man.
Stipe's got
freaking granite.
He's got a chin of vibranium. The guy has a chin like the new Captain America. If you guys haven't watched Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'm not going to spoil it, but you should watch it. That guy has a chin.
Plug, baby.
Boom.
Yep. They should make bunkers out of Stipe's chin. They should make bunkers out of his chin. But yeah, he survived, and then so that was like a couple questions answered right there, right? Can Stipe survive the first big shot? Boom, he could. Now, can Francis defend the takedown? Boom, he could. So now we're at square one again. We don't know who's going to win.
No idea.
But Francis, throughout the whole thing, stayed super composed. He didn't rush in for anything. He didn't feel the need to kind of let his hands go in the wild manner that he has before. I think the perfect example of that was with Rosenstruck, where he kind of just started windmilling his arms.
I mean, I thought, when I thought we were going to just see Francis being like, you know what? Screw the defense. Just come in barreling.
Yep. And his leg kicks looked really good. I think he compromised Stipe's lead leg a little bit with those calf kicks.
The first strike.
Yeah, those low leg kicks.
You could tell that it hurt Stipe right off the bat, for sure. Yeah.
And then he actually also landed a head kick. Like, what's happening with the world right now?
And it caught Stipe by the chin, but Stipe again with the chin.
With the
man.
chin.
Yes.
So Stipe survives round 1. What the heck is gonna happen? Round 2 starts, and more of the same. Francis remaining very calm. Not trying to rush in. And then what happened, Shohei?
Oh man, this one was insane. So, like, it's crazy because obviously we knew that Francis had power, but as he was stepping in with a jab, it was basically a step-in jab.
It was a power jab.
It was a power jab. But I mean, it was still a jab.
Yeah, it was still a jab, and it freaking took the lights out for a second on
It
Stipe.
did. I mean, it hit square in the chin. It
Yeah.
was a perfectly paced jab.
And 260 pounds is 260 pounds, bro.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
And, obviously, Stipe did get rocked. He fell back to the fence, but he was quick to get up. And this is, I think we've seen Stipe, when it comes to adversity and getting hit, he's so good at fighting on his back foot.
So good at recovering and firing back while recovering.
Exactly. We've seen it in not the Andre Arlovsky fight, the Fabricio Verdum fight. That's how he won that title, is as he was going backwards,
he knocked
him out with the right as he was going back.
Even the Alistair Overeem, he got dropped in the first seconds of that fight, and then he comes back to knock Alistair out on the ground. But so after Stipe ate that power jab and was rocked backwards into the cage, Francis started to follow up with a couple more punches, but Stipe survived that, and then they made their way back to the center of the cage, where in the middle of Francis chasing Stipe stops his retreat for a split second, fires off a counter right, and catches Francis clean.
In the face of adversity.
Yes, in the face of adversity, catches him clean. And then Francis actually gets rocked from that.
A little bit.
And then this is where the mistake happened.
He overcommitted. You could tell that once Stipe landed the right and you could see Francis stumble back a little bit, you could tell Stipe was like, oh wait, did I catch him?
Yeah.
And he got a little overconfident.
He got a little, gun brave, I think he saw an opportunity to put someone away who's never been put away, to vanquish the vanquisher. And he came in, and as soon as Stipe stepped in, beautiful check hook from Francis put Stipe away for good.
Yep.
He was out before he hit the ground.
His legs went out from under
He did the
him.
stanky leg.
Yep.
He did the stanky leg, fell back, and did a shablam. And then boom, Francis followed up with a nuke over right hand falling down, and that was it. Just like that. One mistake is all it takes with Francis. That's the thing.
Yeah, and as much as this is the hardest part about this fight, is that I think everybody in the the MMA community, UFC community, I think we all felt this. We both like both fighters.
Yeah, it's like we all have an emotional investment in both fighters.
Exactly. None of us wanted to see either one lose. So seeing Stipe getting knocked out was a little hard, definitely.
Yeah.
But, it happens. And especially in this game, especially against Francis the Predator Ngannou, it's going to happen.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we have to also be happy for Francis, right? Coming from Cameroon, coming from poverty, where he would work in sand mines, making his way to Morocco through the Sahara Desert, swimming from Morocco to Spain. That's a crazy story. And to top it off, becoming a champion is truly inspirational.
Let's be real. His story could win an Academy Award for somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Get on it, Jordan Peele.
You want some of that best supporting actor, best actor, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Play Francis Ngannou in the next movie, because that is a story of stories. But now we're left with what happens with this heavyweight title with Francis Ngannou as champion.
Yes, and I think the obvious thing that is going to happen is we are going to see John Jones take on the Predator.
If he accepts the fight.
If he accepts the fight. He seems like he's all about it right now. I think it's definitely going to be a money issue for him. But I think probably pundits and even casual fans, the biggest question was whether or not Francis could shake off a takedown. And now that he's shown that he can, I think that kind of puts a halt in any plans that Jones might have had to beating him. I feel like it would have been really wrestling heavy.
And it'll be huge just to see, I think, just John Jones moving up to heavyweight. There's a lot of questions, right?
There's a lot of questions.
Will he be strong enough? Will he be changing his fighting game?
Yeah.
Will he be just as quick? Because let's be, as a light heavyweight...
There's no way he's going to be just as quick, I don't think.
Yeah.
Because he put on so much weight. And then the other thing is, with his Dominic fight, with his Thiago Santos fight, John is getting touched now. Like, his face is getting touched.
He doesn't have that undefeatable aura.
You get your face touched by Francis, your face is touching the ground next, you know? So, I'm actually looking really forward to that fight, you know?
Yeah.
And,
I mean, it's basically, it reminds me of, you know, in Game of Thrones when the Oberyn versus the Mountain. You know what I mean? It's like the guy is the Mountain. You know what I mean? Like, Oberyn was winning that fight.
yeah, and you just got...
And you just got
too
caught.
confident.
And then he smashed his
And
face.
exploded his face.
That's Francis.
That's Francis.
Francis will smash and destroy your face.
But what's next for Stipe, dude?
See, I think once you get into a concussion like this, Stipe needs to take 6 months off.
Yeah, those medical suspensions.
Yeah, so I think, in that time, if, they're saying if John Jones takes a fight against Francis, we got another heavyweight bout. And I think, Francis could probably fight in the summer.
Yeah, it's not like he took any damage this fight.
He didn't.
Yeah.
But again, I think Dana White also mentioned if John Jones doesn't take that fight, then Derek Lewis is next in line.
Oh, man. And you guys already know how we feel about the Beast.
Derek Lewis is our boy.
Unload, Derek.
Oh, Derek Lewis.
But either way, heavyweight division's looking really bright right now.
Yeah.
Besides Derek Lewis, we got Anthony Joshua, a.k.a. Cyril Gane.
Yeah.
And it's just looking really good for the heavyweight division.
And you know what? No matter what, though, Stipe, I think will come back, Like, this wasn't his night, but I can't wait to see what he comes up with. Because he's still one of the greatest heavyweights of all time.
If not the greatest, considering his rap sheet.
Exactly. Let's not forget.
I almost forgot.
So, congratulations, Francis, the new heavyweight champion of the world.
Yep. Africa.
Yeah. Cameroon, baby. Okay, the co-main event, welterweights, Tyrone Woodley versus Vincente Luque. And I think before we get into this, we have to say Tyrone Woodley is coming off of 3 losses. First to the champion, Kamaru Usman,
Yes.
then to
Gilbert
Burns, and then to Colby Covington.
Where in all 3 fights, it's hard to put this in a good way. So I'm just going to say he got mollywopped from start to finish.
It's just like I think it was really hard to watch because he seemed gun shy. He was afraid to really
in those 3 fights, right?
In all 3 fights.
He was so hesitant to let his hands go when those are literally his best chances of winning. To let his hands go.
And it's hard to say, but since taking off his rap career and releasing the song "I'll Beat Your Ass,"
Yep.
he did not beat their asses.
And he's kind of experiencing the same type of fall that Anderson faced when he first lost to Weidman.
Right.
It went from the guy who looked invincible to just losing everything.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad to see. But with that said, when this fight started, Tyrone opened up in the way that we always hoped he would always open up, He started off the round by running straight at Vincente Luque and throwing an overhand right meant for the gods.
Straight off the bat, the guy was like a bat out of hell. Seriously, came charging.
Let it go. But, it didn't really land, though. It kind of, went over Vincente Luque, and they immediately went to the clinch. And then he got pressed to the cage, and then we were just like, oh, no. It's exactly what happened in all his past 3 fights.
Yeah, but
he's about to get just outworked in the clinch.
Obviously, fight progressed how it progressed, but Tyrone did seem a little bit more motivated than he did in the past fights.
And then right when he separated from the clinch, he let his hands go again.
Yeah. He was definitely throwing way more shots, but again, this is where the problem lies, right? Where this time he threw shots, but he overcommitted.
And he was loading them up.
He was
loading
out
him up
to take him
Yeah.
to the shadow realm. He wanted to freaking Exodia his face. You know what I'm saying?
He's trying to attack the life points directly.
Exactly. And yo, Vincente Luque, as we mentioned about chins, this man also has a chin.
Yep, Vincente Luque's chin and Stipe's chin are biological brothers because they are both. So you should make rocket ships out of Vincente Luque's chin.
Like if Elon Musk had built his rockets, it could be going even
They'd be making to Mars and back right now.
Easy.
Survive meteor crashes with Vincente Luque's chin because Tyrone landed overhand right that rocked Vincente Luque for a total of maybe 2.5 seconds.
And it hit him on the ear, too.
Yeah, in the spot that would just put someone out. And he survived.
He did.
You know?
And that was, again, this is where the problem lies, right? Where he saw that he was compromised. I think he started to get a little bit, he wanted that. He thought he had the out. He was going to take his head off. So he starts overcommitting to his punches and he puts so much power behind it, but he's loading up, right? And because of that, Vincente Luque is a seasoned striker. They call him the silent assassin for a reason. The guy should be in the next Assassin's Creed Brazil, man. He should be coming up, eagle diving, and then taking people out from behind.
Yeah.
Seriously, Vincente Luque comes in, and as Tyrone Woodley's throwing, he was able to get him with such a nice counter overhand
and it
right.
was so short, too.
So short.
It was within the pocket. And the thing about counterpunching is the whole theory behind it is that you're going to take your opponent's momentum with his strike that's coming in, it meets your strike, and then the power of both of your strikes gets combined, right? Now, we all know Tyrone has a freaking cannon for a right hand. So the fact that he's loading up so hard, he's giving Vincente such a big opportunity to sneak his hand in there. And by the time he lets go, he's adding all that power to Vincente's counter right. And it put him out.
Exactly. And yeah, I think, right as... Once he hit him with that counter right, you just saw an instant shift in the fight.
Chicken legs right away.
Yeah.
His legs were gone.
And then you could see, once Tyrone got up against the cage, he was in a lot of trouble. And you just saw Vincente start calculating his move like a freaking silent assassin. He starts piecing him up. And once he gets to the ground, what does he do, Jeremy?
He secure, Vincente Luque at the end of the day is excellent jiu-jitsu, All Brazilians pretty much have excellent jiu-jitsu. So, so when he got Tyrone to the ground, he immediately puts in a Darce choke and rolls Tyrone in such a way where his back is to the cage, so he can't defend the choke with his legs or with his arms. And let's face it, Tyrone was already out before he was even put in the coach. Mentally he was rocked already. So Vincente was able to secure that choke. Tyrone tapped, and yet again, another loss for the former champion.
Yeah. So, I think, I don't know what the UFC's plan is. I think a huge conversation that was being had this week was, if Tyrone loses this fight, does this mean that it's over for Tyrone in the UFC?
Especially since they've been cutting so many fighters. You know?
So, what do you think?
I just don't see him getting his belt back at all.
Yeah.
There's just a killer's row at welterweight right now. And, if he were to try to make it back to his belt, he has to fight the same exact fights that he got destroyed in. He'd have to fight Gilbert Burns again. He'd have to fight Colby again. And, of course, he'd have to fight Kamaru. So it's like, can you really see Tyrone pulling that off currently?
No, definitely not.
I think he's past his time now.
And there's also, a whole new, breed of welterweights coming up as well. Yeah. What's his name? Makhachev, not Islam Makhachev. Who beat Ian Kutalaba?
Oh God, the one Russian dude.
Yeah.
Aren't those guys light heavyweights?
He might be a light heavyweight.
Yeah,
but
they're big.
I'm just saying there are so many good fighters.
Wonder Boy's still there though. Bro.
Respect on the man's
name.
Respect on the man's name. But yeah, there's just so many good fighters that are coming up in the welterweight division, and it's such a competitive division that it's hard to say where Tyrone fits into all this. But Vicente Luque, with such a nice showing again, who do we give him next, I don't think we can give him Stephen Wonderboy Thompson because that fight, he definitely outclassed Luque.
Oh, dude, Neil Magny's still in there. You give him Neil Magny. David
True.
Maya's still in there.
Michael Chiesa,
he's been on a tear since he moved up.
Yeah, he did.
Dude, welterweight's so dangerous right now. And Masvidal's still in there, but he has a title fight.
He has a title fight.
Fuck yeah.
Colby Covington.
I'm with that. I love Street Jesus.
I think Colby Covington versus Gilbert Burns, I think that makes sense.
Yes.
I really think Colby should take the fight. We'll see how that goes. Welterweight is kind of a frustrating division when it comes to fights, but,
I think you should give Vicente Michael
Chiesa.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael Chiesa is also coming off of an impressive win against Neil Magny.
Yeah, and I think the winner of that should fight Leon.
Ooh.
And that will decide whether or not Leon gets the next title eliminator fight.
I think that makes sense.
Yep.
So, you know what? Welterweight division.
Let's not forget about Kamzat. The boy's back.
Oh, yeah.
Back from the dead.
We'll see. We'll see. The guy, it's been a roller coaster for that man. But you know what? It's good to hear that he's getting healthy.
Talk about going through it.
Seriously.
He went through it.
But welterweight division, Vicente Luque, congrats.
Yes.
Seriously earning the name Silent Assassin.
Yeah. And just, again, chin of freaking titanium.
Bro.
It's like when Tony Stark made the new element for his Iron Man suit. That was Vicente Luque's shin.
Seriously, it's like, it's the same. When Tony Stark had the nanobots, that basically he could just turn into Iron Man from his skin.
From his skin.
Basically, Vicente Luque can just nanobot his chin.
Always. It just recovers.
Iron chin.
Crimson chin.
Bang.
Man, this is it!
By my mother's mandible, I say nay! The Crimson Chin!
It's the Crimson Chin!
All right, so Thomas Almeida versus Sugar Sean O'Malley.
Taste the rainbow, baby. Looking like some Skittles.
Honestly, he came with the Tekashi 6ix9ine hair. It was the rainbow.
Yes, sir.
But bantamweight fight, I think, the return of Sugar Sean. This one also, I think, piqued a lot of people's interest. This had the huge question, is Sugar Sean,
everything that he's made himself out to be.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because I think we always see this, especially in UFC. It's like hype trained, right?
Yeah.
When a person starts building hype, it can be a double-edged sword because it's like you build all of this hype around not only, and with Sugar Sean, it's not only his fighting style, but it's also his personality, right?
Right. I think he took that, there's losing in grace, and then there's what Sean did. And, mentally undefeated, baby.
I think that definitely rubbed a lot of fans
people the wrong way.
way.
And I feel like it made a lot of fans want to see him lose this fight.
Yeah.
So going to this fight, I think everyone's assumption was attack Sean's leg.
Yeah.
Because that's what worked before.
I mean, Sean is known to have the glass ankles of the UFC. Sean, I think it was definitely going to be part of Thomas Almeida's game plan. But, once we got into the fight, who was throwing more calf kicks?
Sean. It's like he used the weapon that defeated him to try to defeat his next opponent, Yo. On some, video game shit. He gained experience points. He's like, nope, going to do the same thing. But,
he learned.
But, that first round was an amazing first round for Sean. He controlled distance so well. A lot of front leg side kicks, able to push Almeida away. A lot of those quad kicks that John Jones is known for, except he was throwing it with his front leg side kick. And Thomas just couldn't really get close at all. And then Sean just has this crazy ability to close distance from here to here so quick.
Yeah.
And then he could land his straight right hands from the next door's neighbor house.
But let's be
it's crazy.
real. It's just like the reach just the height.
At bantamweight.
Yeah.
He's just so long.
He's so long, and
Yeah.
you could definitely tell because Thomas Almeida, I think we've seen in his past fight, the guy is an infighter. The guy likes to keep it dirty, you know?
He's a phone booth fighter.
Definitely. Like,
Yeah.
his huge strategy going into a lot of his fights is that he's a huge, like, slip and punch kind of guy. You know, he slips to get into the pocket,
Yep.
and he starts throwing his combos. And when it's a guy like, you know, Sugar Sean, who's not only a counter puncher, but he's also super long and lanky,
Yeah.
and he's a not orthodox, the freaking southpaw.
But he's also very good at switching too.
He's so good at switching.
Yeah, he switches seamlessly, constantly throwing strikes in different looks, and he does such unorthodox things. Like he'll fake a spinning back fist by turning his head this way, and
He was doing that so many
throughout
times.
the whole fight.
It
But
reminded me, that head shake reminded me of Jim Carrey when he played The Mask.
oh, then he turns.
Yeah, it is mask time.
But yeah, in that first round, Sean landed a head kick that rocked Almeida, and then he followed it up with, what was it, like a straight right hand?
I think it was a left over the top.
A left over. Oh yeah, right, left over the top that he thought put Almeida away, and then he walked away from it like a walk away KO.
Yep.
And you know, especially coming off of a loss, you can't be fighting like that.
Yeah.
You know, finish the guy. You know, you have the job. Make sure you finish it.
I think he just got a little overconfident, thought the fight was finished, thought the referee was going to pull it, but
Thomas Almeida is Thomas Almeida.
He's got a
and
chin.
he also has a chin. We should call this card the card of the chins because these guys could bang. So Thomas survives, gets back up, and, fights off the rest of the round. And, all of us here and even the commentators like Joe, DC, they're like, man, Sean made a huge mistake not going to finish him.
yeah, and I mean, it definitely shows to the heart of Thomas Almeida because, he was rocked. It was clean, and it's like Thomas Almeida really didn't have any answers that first round, and going into that second, it was kind of like, oh man, are we just gonna see a compromised fighter fight Sean O'Malley?
Yeah, more of the same.
Exactly.
And it kind of was like that, Sean again did exactly what he did in the first round. Great distance control and management, but slowly but surely was piecing up Thomas more and more.
Right.
Now Thomas, on the other hand, was starting to commit to Sean's leg a little bit more, and it looked like it was working. Sean's movement started to slow down a little bit. He wasn't able to circle and be as light as he normally was, especially in the beginning of the fight. And for some reason, I don't know what it was, but it seemed like his legs were a little compromised, Sean's.
A little bit, no, for sure.
Yeah, I think it was from like a bad kick, or he just has damage that's still reoccurring.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with his legs, but it looked like for brief moments that Sean would just lose his balance a little bit.
Yeah, he'd kind of
It seemed
stumble
he would,
around.
Yeah, he would buckle a little bit. So I was like, oh no, is Sean about to get finished?
Yeah, and I think the same thing, in that second round, we definitely saw Thomas being able to connect a little bit more.
Yep.
He was able to sneak in some straight hooks, he was able to get some jabs in. He was able to kind of get Sean into the pocket and where he was comfortable.
Slightly a little bit.
A little bit in that range that he was comfortable with.
Yeah, but Sean has just really good reactions.
Yeah.
Even in the pocket, when Thomas would try to throw the big shot, all Sean would have to do was just lean back a little bit, and then he would pull the shot. Or, he would just constantly slip, get out of the way. And I think also because of what happened in the first round and Thomas being almost put away, Thomas was biting on literally every single one of Sean's feints.
Yeah.
Especially this one. The turning the head, the mask. He kept on biting on that, which is crazy.
And Sean is a master in feints. His fighting style is so unorthodox.
Yeah.
It's just so out there,
He was landing spinning back kicks.
Yeah.
He was just landing so many kicks on Thomas. I feel like Thomas felt frozen.
No, because I think, it's like, you could tell, Thomas had no answers, and it was like, Sean was basically throwing the kitchen sink at him.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He didn't know what was coming. He could be throwing punches. He could be throwing kicks. He could go from distance. He could go close. It's just what are you gonna do? You know?
I think what it had to come down to was Thomas committing just to eat a couple strikes in order to get in.
He needed to make it dirty.
And I think that's what he tried to do in the third round, but what happened?
Oh man, the third round is when you saw Sean just really, turn it on. He executed the freaking game plan.
Yep.
He went in and, closer to the middle-ish, the end of the third round,
Yep.
he was able to just, as Thomas was committing to a punch, he was able to just lean back and just snipe him.
Yeah, so it started with Sean hurting Thomas with I think it was like a check hook or something, and he hurt Thomas. So Thomas answered by blitzing, and then in the middle of the blitz, off his back foot, Sean is able to put in a counter right hand that put Thomas out, and then he almost did a walk away again.
He did,
which he did. And then the ref was like, "No, it's not over." So Sean just walks up to Thomas and just falls on him like this.
And takes him out.
And he lands a huge right hand to the face while falling down.
And yeah,
Thomas was out.
I think that was I think it was a build-up from the first to third round. You just saw that Thomas just started overcommitting, you know? It's like you could tell that there was a little bit of desperation in not being able to close that distance. And by the third round, he was just so obvious that he was coming in. And Sean was able to just capitalize. And just as he was coming in, he was able to just counter.
Sean just has such good movement.
Such good movement.
In terms of, he has kind of that Wonder Boy and Conor McGregor, well, old school Conor McGregor, karate stance where they're standing kind of sideways, and that stance really allows for mobility back and forth.
Yeah.
And so every time that Sean would land something, he would exit right away, and he was nowhere to be found for Thomas. And Thomas just got pieced up that entire fight pretty much.
The guy So now, finally with a W on his record again after the loss to Chito Vera, Sean O'Malley is 13-0. No, 13-1.
Mentally undefeated.
Mentally undefeated, but 13-1. So now with the bantamweight division, do you think Sean is ready to start facing top 15?
I think he,
Jose
beat Aldo beat who did he beat recently?
Few moments later.
Oh, he beat Cheeto. Jose beat Cheeto. Yeah.
Yeah, so Jose Aldo beat Chito Vera. I don't think you should give Jose Aldo Sean, really.
And then Dom just won his fight.
I think, this is what I think. I think Jose Aldo should fight Dominic Cruz, because I think that would be an awesome...
They're 9-10 right now.
It would be an awesome old school kind of, like the old school UFC match where they fight. I mean, Song Yadong is coming off of a loss to
he is, and
River
he's ranked
Phillips.
17.
Yeah, he's coming off of a loss to River Phillips, and that,
And Cody Stamen also is there too.
So I think, Sugar Sean should be going for either Song Yadong or Cody Stamen just to see if he really proves himself. I don't think he's quite there at top 15, because let's be real.
I think even there's guys in the top 15 that are still super dangerous, that I wouldn't want. I mean, if I were Sean, I wouldn't want to try to fight quite yet until I get a little bit more ring time under my belt.
Right.
Because number 13 is Ricky Simone.
Ooh, Ricky Simone.
And just that stuffing wrestling style, we never seen Sean have to deal with that yet. And then right above him at 12 is Rafael Assunção, dude.
Ooh.
Bro, there's warriors up in that division right now.
And yeah, it's crazy because I think when it comes to those fighters, they just look more filled out. You know? They've just been tested. They're battle tested. And I think Sean, as good as we all know, we know that Sean is good. He's shown in his last few fights that he possesses the skills to be a world-class fighter.
He definitely has the skills. What it comes down to is mentality right now. And I think, of course it's hard for me and you to say because we're not professional fighters, but I think, general consensus, I don't think he should be around the people he's around right now if he wants to be a champion, Yeah,
but, I think if he really does want to prove himself, I think the bantamweight division is such a murderous
Dude,
crazy division
UFC
right now.
in general right now is stacked.
Is
They
stacked.
have such good fighters.
So I mean, this is what I think. You know, it's like he lost to Cheeto Vera, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he obviously can't go for Jose Aldo or anybody above that. But I think, you know, Song Yadong's coming off of a loss. He beat Cheeto Vera. I mean, you know, it's a bit controversial, but
Yeah.
Song Yadong is there to freaking bang, or maybe
Yeah,
even
give him a song.
or Cody Stamann. You know, those two fighters are close enough to the top 15 where Sean can prove himself,
Yeah.
and they're also killers that, you know, it's
And
not
you
going to
need
be an easy
You
fight.
need to give Sean a wrestler too, just to see how he'll do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because at this point, you know, Sean needs to prove himself, but bantamweight is a scary division to prove yourself with. So
It's gonna be crazy.
it's gonna be crazy.
7 seeds. Only the baddest of the bad can get in. You need to have muscles. You need to have muscles on your muscles. You need to have muscles on your eyeballs. Ew.
Next, in the women's flyweight division, Miranda Maverick versus Gillian Robertson. And you know what? This was a competitive match for the newcomer, Miranda Maverick. You know, that girl, she is built. She's got better shoulders than I do.
She got them Dwight Howard shoulders.
She looks so strong. And man, like, I think this was a good test for her.
Yeah.
Because Gillian Robertson is known to be, you know, it's like one of these really good specialists.
Yeah, one of those like suffocating wrestlers.
Yeah. So,
And
yeah.
I think, and then Maverick came in as the better striker, obviously.
Yeah.
And that showed in the fight.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like, it's that same thing, right? Where it's like, I think we've seen it in kind of like these past fights. It's like if, you know, you have a really good striker versus a girl, like, or anybody who's like a really good grappler. It's like, is it a night and day difference once they get taken to the ground? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like,
All about compatibility.
exactly, because, you know, a lot of these strikers don't know what to do when they're on the ground. And if a person is relentless enough and they take you to the ground and you have no answer for them, you could, you know, most of the time grapplers win the fight. You know?
Yeah, and the way that the rules or how the judging works, it favors ground control pretty heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if you're not doing too much on the ground, let's say you're just like little patty cake punches and just a couple of transitions, you're gonna win that round off of points.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I think that's like the big thing in the UFC right now, whether or not you could defend yourself on the ground.
Exactly. And so going in, you know, obviously Gillian Robertson is gonna be you know, the favorite on the ground. So when we saw them on the stand-up, you could tell, you know, like she was getting
Huge difference.
huge difference.
Huge difference.
Maverick was getting pieced up.
Yep.
And then
Going
as
Top Gun on her.
exactly, and then once she got taken down, we were like, "Uh-oh, is
Yeah.
this, you know?" Because the first round, basically, Maverick had that.
Yeah.
Easy. It was mostly standing. Second round, Gillian Robertson takes her down, and, you know, she has really good wrestling. It's like, no matter what, she can threaten takedown, or she can threaten chokes. You know, she guts to your back. Her transitions
Yeah.
are beautiful and pretty perfectly timed.
Pretty like mature chain wrestling too. Like let's say like her single wouldn't work, immediately switch to a double.
Yeah.
From there, try to immediately switch to a sweep. You know, that's something like you only see in advanced grapplers. So
Yeah.
it was really good to see.
Exactly. And, you know, on the ground, you know, I can't say that Robertson, like, hurt Maverick with a lot of punches or anything.
No, definitely not.
But she was definitely threatening the takedown. She got her back, and, you know, they had to fight, like, Maverick had to fight the hands to basically, you know, prevent a choke. So it was a pretty competitive second round. So going into the third round, it was kind of like, you know, who's going to win this fight?
Who's gonna like put it on the line right now?
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like, who can stick to their game plan? But this is where I think, you know, you fight adversity and you show heart. And that's what Maverick did. Because, you know, even when Robertson was threatening a takedown, what did Maverick do? She came in with the takedown on her own.
Yeah, and she actually took her back too.
Yeah.
Almost got choking.
Yeah, she was And, that's when you saw, like, oh, crap, Maverick has superior striking, but she has good wrestling as well. She has good ground game because she was able to take her down by doing a 1-2 and then seamlessly transitioning into a double leg.
That change of levels.
Exactly.
Mix it up with the hands, change levels. And I think that won her the fight.
It did. It's just like, but this is the thing about the women's division now.
Yes,
it's
sir.
like, if you are a specialist, you can't, it's hard because, like, in these competitive fights, when you're starting to get to the championship levels, you can't just have one thing,
And there's just a drop off in skill from, like, so for this division, champion is obviously Valentina. It's like Valentina and then everyone else. Like, that's just how it is. I think DC made a big comment about how it's like, you see these girls competing and you see that it's a competitive fight amongst them, but you have to ask the question, if you put them in front of Valentina, can they even survive? And, it's a tough take,
It is.
Because Valentina just has that night power in her legs, night power in her hands, and it's hard to say that with any other girls in that division.
Yeah, it's like if you were playing Pokemon, and every Pokemon type has a weakness, right? But imagine if they just mixed two types of Pokemon together. What if a Pokemon had three types? You know what I'm saying? Like, freaking fire.
Poison, dark.
Exactly.
Ghost.
Dragon, ghost, metal. That is Valentina Shevchenko.
Yeah, Valentina's Mewtwo.
She's she is Mewtwo, she's the god Pokemon, Arceus. She is the freaking, she has everything. Because, it's like, you can't outstrike Valentina Shevchenko. You're not going to take her down because she can just out-wrestle you too. And she has really good jiu-jitsu game. So it's like you can't have one thing. You have to have everything. You have to have the pie.
But let's not take away from the victory of Maverick.
Right.
Excellent bout. Really showed that in the face of adversity, you did what it takes to get out and survive.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is that she is a newcomer coming in, and she's shown that she has the ability to strike, and she's able to take it to the ground, right?
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, you're newer to the UFC. If she can hone these skills, she can, level up. She starts getting her stat points going up, like ding, 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 ding. And, she stays in the fight. She starts taking on harder and harder opponents, and she grows through each challenge and fights through the adversity. I think that she has a very bright future ahead of her in the strawweight division. Yeah?
Yeah, I think she just needs to learn how to wrestle a little bit more. Right. Just really learn that ground game. Because I just think at this point, like, a striker is not going to beat Valentina. Like, you're not going to stand up with her and then expect to leave that, like, alive. You're going to get Jessica-eyed.
Right. And, who was the fight that she fought with, her last fight? That was pretty competitive.
Yeah, but she had, and then she actually...
Jennifer Maia.
She actually wrestled that girl, didn't she?
Yes, so Jennifer Maia, I mean, you could tell, she was a Invicta champion.
Yeah.
So her striking was so good, and we saw, I think that one was where Valentina actually, had to use all of her tools.
The rest of the repertoire.
But that's exactly it. We've seen it with Amanda Nunes too.
So it's a good example of what you need to be a champion or to be competitive in that division.
You have to have everything. So, Miranda Maverick, hone your skills, sharpen the tools, sharpen the swords, and you know what? I think you have a really good shot. Yep.
Got a shot at your future.
Venusaur! Oh no! Counterattack with whatever you feel like, man!
Wait, hold on, what? Venusaur with a question mark.
Yeah, I don't know, whatever.
Dude, come on, man!
And finally, with the first fight that kicked off the UFC 260 main card, Khama Worthy versus Jamie Mullarkey.
Yes, sir. Dude, Jamie Mullarkey, look... If there's such thing as a rugby hooligan, like a soccer hooligan, but that does rugby, that is what Jamie Mullarkey looks like. He looks like he greets everyone with a headbutt, like the dwarves in The Hobbit.
I see that. I totally see that. He's Australian as hell.
His head's just so flat right here. He just constantly looks angry.
And the guy looks like he probably scrapped a lot in school.
Yes, sir.
And
you know what? It showed.
Yup. And I mean, a lightweight fight against Khama Worthy, who, let's be real, is a brawler.
Yeah, like he came out like a bat out of hell against a bat out of hell in Khama Worthy. You know, Khama Worthy is no trump. I think after his loss against Ottman, you know, a lot of people forgot that he himself has hands, boy.
Yeah.
He got hands.
And he was on a tear before
the loss to Ottman, yeah.
So, yeah, I think... But, man, this one was quick, and it was
quick.
high energy.
Not much to say about this one.
Oh, man,
Yeah.
but what's crazy is Jamie Mullarkey had such high energy. He was hopping around like Mario or like a freaking video game.
Like he had some star power.
Yeah, like he was on a platformer, you know what I'm saying? Like... Exactly. Like, seriously, the guy was such high energy.
Yep.
He came in, and I think, you know, they started exchanging right off the bat.
Right off the rip.
Yeah.
And, you know, as I guess, you know, Khama Worthy isn't that adept at fighting off his back foot because just as soon as Jamie Mullarkey pushed him back and he extended that, it was such a long hook.
It was a long
It was
hook.
like not bent at all. It was like almost straight. But he caught Worthy in the chin and put him the fuck out, baby.
It was crazy because he hit him in the perfect place.
Yeah.
It was the off switch.
Right on the button.
Seriously, it's like, you know, when in school, like when you're growing up, you know, it's not the nut taps that are like as hard as possible that hurt the most. It's the ones with the most precision.
It's the one with the snap on it.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then those types, because a lot of those times, like the heavy nut shot, you feel in your nuts, right? But the one with the snap and the tap, you feel that in your stomach.
Yeah, that's the one where it goes inside of you.
There's a delay. There's a delay after the hit, and all of a sudden you're like, oh no.
That is Jamie Mullarkey's hook, dude. He got him in the perfect spot.
He got him in the nuts, baby.
On his chin. Oh, yeah. Seriously, it was so perfectly placed. I mean, Khama Worthy had no idea what happened. Yeah.
He was asking, like, the rest what happened, right?
Yeah.
Afterwards, yeah. So, crazy punch. And I think he, this was his UFC debut.
Oh.
But he's undefeated before this.
Crazy.
So, yeah, man. Guys got some skill. We got a new lightweight in the building, baby.
I mean, we've talked about this. We keep talking about this.
I feel like we keep on saying this division stack, but they really are.
They all stack.
They really are.
They all stack.
But lightweight, man. Oh, dude. To add another killer to lightweight, which already has killers, bro.
I mean, there are unranked fighters.
Yeah, that will take your skull off.
That are scary AF.
Yes.
Like, oh man. That's why I think we talk about this so often. Right now, all of the divisions are heating up.
They're so stacked right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, so congrats to Jamie Mullarkey. I think
looking forward to another fight from you. I think Khama Worthy is like a pretty crazy fighter to debut on too. It's like not like they just gave him like, you know, who knows Joe, you know? Like they gave him Khama Worthy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like next is definitely going to be someone like around like 20 or something like that.
I mean, they definitely. I think now it's like, you know, it's like all of these fighters are coming in. It's like, and now lightweight, you know, has some movement. Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler are fighting for the title. So
yep, Dustin Connor still there.
Yup. So I'm really excited for all of these divisions. Next week we have who's fighting again? Darren Till versus Marvin Vettori.
Dude, Rafael Fiziev is number 22 in lightweight. Bro, number 22. That guy's so scary. Like, who do you fight? Who can you give Mullarkey safely at lightweight?
Is there a safely?
There's no safe. Look who's... Hold on. Number 27 is motherfucking Bobby Green, dude. That guy still... Even though he loses a lot...
He's still really good.
He's still there.
He's still definitely good.
Number 22 is Fiziev. Francisco Trinaldo's 24, dude. Brad Riddell is number 20.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy. Lightweight is crazy.
Thiago Moises is
Oh my
17.
gosh.
Oh my gosh. Okay. You know what? Like, they're all good. They're all really good. So, you are seriously fighting
Yeah.
Killer's Row right now.
Dude, lightweight, I think that's like the worst one to try to make it up on currently.
For sure.
Lightweight for sure. Yeah.
But see, this is that same thing where it's like the highest risk but the biggest reward.
Mm-hmm.
If you're able to become the lightweight champion of the world, you're probably getting one of the biggest paychecks.
Yeah, but it's literally the biggest occupational hazard in the world to try to make it up lightweight.
Yeah, it's
To even think about approaching the top 5 of lightweight, it's like, oh man. You have to go through World War I and II in order to get to the top 5.
It's basically like you have to fight a tournament arc, like in an anime, but you can't do any teams. It's
No.
like you are the one person has to fight all of them.
And no filler episodes.
No.
Just fight after fight after
It's
fight.
like, it's basically like if you were in Pokemon, another Pokemon reference, if you were in Pokemon, you're like, I'm just going to go through all of the gym leaders and the Elite Four at once.
Yep, and then at the very end, Gary's there waiting for you.
Yep.
You fought all these people. Now it's time to fight me.
The rival.
Yep.
So, yeah. So next week, Marvin Vettori versus Darren Till.
Dude, sick fight.
Really exciting fight.
Yeah. Marvin Vettori, man, making a case for himself again.
Yep.
Yep.
And Darren Till, if he wins, a good case to be made for a middle shot title against the champ. So tune in next week as we bring you Ninth Side MMA, the recap. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Make sure you hit that notification button, hit that subscribe button, and smash that like button.
We don't know where those are going to be, but it'll be somewhere.